Hey, what's up, guys? It's me back again. Today, we don't actually have a review for once because I ran out of original ideas. Today, we're going. Oh, actually, yes, I'm gonna shut my door really quick. Give me a sec. All right, now we're good. Because if I didn't have that door shut, you'd probably be able to hear the TV in the other room, and that's not what this is about. Today, we're going to be reading some jokes that I found on the internet because I don't know. So ask ask me what? I don't know. Um so yeah, let's just jump right into it. I don't see any reason to delay this. Joke number 1. It's called "One Day Einstein Has to Speak at an Important Science Conference." So the joke begins. On the way there, he tells his driver that looks a bit like him, "I'm sick of all these conferences. I always say the same things over and over." The driver agrees. "You're right. As your driver, I attended all of them. And even though I don't know anything about science, I could give the conference in your place." "That's a great idea," says Einstein. "Let's switch places then." Excuse me, I'm about to sneeze in a second. Yeet. All right. Um, where was I? By the way, I'm reading this on off the internet, so because what would it take for me to be original? A lot. It's easy, kid. Hold on. Got him. All right. Where was I? Okay. So they switch clothes, and as soon as they arrive, the driver dresses as Einstein goes on stage and starts giving the usual speech, while the real Einstein, dressed as the car driver, attends it. But in the crowd, there's one scientist who wants to impress everyone and thinks of a very difficult question to ask Einstein, hoping he wouldn't be able to respond. So this guy stands up and interrupts the conference by posing his very difficult question. The whole room goes silent, holding their breath, waiting for the response. The driver looks at him dead in the eye and says, "Sir, your question is so easy to answer that I'm going to let my driver reply to it for me." Oh boy. The best part about this is the joke's like okay, it's not like terrible, but the best part about this is if I were to flip this around, as you can clearly see at the bottom of this, it's literally asking you, is this funny? Um, 2,000 people think so, 1,000 people don't. I don't know. I'm probably somewhere in the middle. It's okay. Um, Jeez, this is a long one. Okay, so next one. Uh, so there was this man in Bulgaria who drove trains for a living. He loved his job. Driving a train had been his dream ever since he was a child. What an amazing dream that is. He loved to make the train go as fast as possible. That seems highly dangerous. Unfortunately, one day he was a little too reckless. See, there you go. And caused a crash. He made it out, but a single person died. Well, needless to say, he went to court over this incident. He was found guilty and was sentenced to death by electrocution. Yeah, dude. Um, well, the day of the execution came, he requested a single banana as his last meal. Bruh. Like, freaking banana? I don't know, it's gonna have something to do with this. After eating the banana, he was strapped into the electric chair. The switch was flowed and sparks flew and smoke filled the air, but nothing happened. The man was perfectly fine. What, did he freaking rub banana on him or something, dude? I don't know. Well, at that time, there was an old Bulgarian law that said a failed execution was a sign of divine intervention. Sounds like Pulp Fiction, my dude. So the man was allowed to go free. Somehow, he managed to get his old job back driving the train. How, dude? Having not learned his lesson at all, he went right back to driving the train with the reckless abandon. Once again, he caused a train to crash, this time killing 2 people. Dude, will this guy ever learn? The trial went much the same as the first, resulting in a sentence of execution. For his final meal, the man requested 2 bananas. Dude, I swear, he's got to be like rubbing on him, or like rubbing the bananas on himself or something. After eating the bananas, he was strapped into the electric chair. The switch was thrown, sparks flew, smoke filled the room, and the man was once again unharmed. Well, this, of course, meant that he was free to go, and once again he somehow managed to get his old job back. To what should have been the surprise of no one, he crashed yet another train and killed 3 people. Dude, like, why? And so he once again found himself being sentenced to death. On the day of his execution, he requested his final meal, 3 bananas. You know what? No, said the executioner. I've had it with you and your stupid bananas I've had it with you and your stupid bananas and walking out of here unharmed. I'm not giving you a thing to eat. We're strapping you in and doing this now. Well, it was against the protocol. Oh, okay. Well, it was against the protocol, but the man was strapped into the electric chair without a last meal. The switch was pulled, sparks flew, and smoke filled the room. Okay, and the man was still unharmed. The executioner was speechless. Oh my God, the man looked over. Sorry, I just read the end of this joke. You know, it's not. Get ready to be disappointed. The man looked at the executioner and said, "Oh, the bananas had nothing to do with it. I'm just a bad conductor." Come on, I want out. I just want out. Come on. You gotta be kidding me. That may have been the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. The worst joke ever. Is it funny? Definitely not. I'm downvoting that one. Okay, this is the short one. A man is walking through his local mall and notices a Mexican bookstore. He decides to go in because he has never seen a Mexican bookstore before. He browses through the store and finally asks the clerk, "Do you have the book on Donald Trump's foreign policies with Mexico?" Nah, this is a dumb joke. I'm not reading the rest of it. I think this one's actually worse than the last one. This is dumb. What's this? Oh, it's people. Okay. Another short one. A poor man meets a rich man around Christmas. The poor man asks the rich man, "What are you getting your wife for this Christmas?" The rich man replies, "Diamond earrings and a Mercedes." The poor man asks, "Why are you getting her 2 gifts?" The rich man says, "Well, if she doesn't like the earrings, then she can drive to the store and exchange them." The poor man nods. Then the rich man asks him, "So what are you getting your wife this year?" Oh boy. The poor man thinks about it for a second. This one's actually pretty good. The poor man thinks about it for a second and replies, "A pair of slippers and a..." My dog. The rich man asks, "Why those 2 things?" The poor man astutely responds, "This way, if she doesn't like the slippers, she can go frick herself." This is a family-friendly channel. You got to remember that. I don't feel like getting the OG Broski treatment and just getting my channel deleted. So you know. Okay. Another one. Okay, so the Pope is super early for his flight. He asks his driver on his way to the airport if he could drive around for a while, because they have time to kill and he hasn't driven a car since becoming the Pope. Naturally, he's a bit rusty, so he's driving poorly, when suddenly he sees police lights behind him. He pulls over, and when the officer comes up to the window, his eyes go wide. He says to the Pope, "Hold on for a minute." He goes back to his car to radio the chief. "Cop, this is the cop speaking. Chief, we have a situation. I've pulled over an important figure." The chief responds, "How important? Governor or something?" The cop responds, "No, sir, he's bigger." The chief responds, "So what, a celebrity or something?" The cop responds, "More important, sir." The chief responds, "A major politician?" The cop says, "No, sir, he's much more important." The chief says, "Well, who is it?" The cop says, "Well, actually, I'm not sure, but the Pope's his driver." It's dumb. I'm downvoting that one too. Okay, a Mormon and an Irishman are on a plane. You know, I'm not reading this one. I'm gonna tell my own jokes. Okay, I'm gonna tell a bit of a long one. It should take less than 5 minutes. I'll try to make it short. Um. Okay, so a man is driving his dirt bike through the desert, and he runs out of gas and gets stranded in the middle of the desert with no way out. So he has to find a way out, and he starts walking around the desert looking for how to get back, but he has no idea. He's completely lost. So he wanders around for about 2 days. By this point, he's like nearly completely dehydrated. He's about to die soon if he doesn't get water. He's practically starving. He hasn't had anything, and he's just been walking up and down the sand dunes for 2 days straight. Right, so he's not in very good shape. Okay. The morning of the third day, he's like close to death. He's gonna die soon if he doesn't get water. That's the same thing. I just did it twice. Um, he he knows he can only get over like maybe 4 or 5 more sand dunes before he's totally just done. He just has to lay down and accept it, right? So, but he decides to do it anyway. So he walks over the first one, the second one, third one. But when he walks over the top of the fourth one, something weird happens. As he's walking down the other side of it, he's like, okay, when I get to the bottom of this, I'm just gonna have to lay down and accept that I'm not getting out of this. But as soon as he reaches the bottom, he notices something weird. He sees what appears to be a snake laying in the sand. And he's like, that's odd. Why would there be a snake out here? So he approaches it. And the snake turns around and says, "Oh, hello, sir." The man is obviously surprised that he's encountered a talking snake in the desert. Specifically the talking snake part. So he's a bit, he's a bit shaken up at this. He kind of thinks he's just hallucinating. But he responds, "Hello?" The snake says, "Hi, I'm Nate, the magical snake of the desert, and I can grant you 3 wishes." The man still doesn't believe it, but he decides to try it out because it's kind of his last chance. So, he says for his first wish, he wants to never be hungry again. Nate the snake responds, "Well, okay," and grants him the ability to never be hungry again, and instantly his hunger goes away. So the man's like, okay, this actually works. So then he says, "I never want to be thirsty ever again." And Nate, the snake says, alrighty then. And instantly the man's thirst goes away. The man can't believe it actually works, and he wants to wish for something big. But he realizes that he still needs to get out of the desert. He's still hopelessly lost. So he's about to say his final wish. Nate the snake predicts what he's about to say and stops him. Nate the snake says, "Okay, so I know what you're going to say, but before you do it, I have my son here. His name is Jake, okay? He's never been out of the desert. He's never seen anything. Would you be kind enough to take my son Jake, the snake, around to just see all the sights of the world and then bring him back here when you're done?" The man knows he has to get out, so he agrees. He takes Jake, gives his final wish, and they leave. He takes Jake around to see the world. He keeps his promise. And about 6 years later or so, he returns back to the desert in search of Nate to return Jake. So as he's searching around, he's on his dirt bike. He comes over the top of a hill and sees Nate at the bottom. But right before, I just realized I messed the joke up. Anyway, the punchline was going to be, you know what I'm going to do? You know what I'm going to do? I'm not gonna tell you. I'm gonna save it for later. This is gonna be a two-part joke right here. But just to give you some context, the part I forgot, because if you're wondering how I forgot, I was in a rush because I have to keep this under 15 minutes, like I've said before. So there's a lever that destroys the Earth. Peace out.